what about, according to your critics, your choice of criminals to defend? Because that brings in, money. Nobody wants to defend them, so Essa Faal goes in there and charges them an arm and a leg.
Okay, let me tell you something. The cases I did are cases that all lawyers in the world run after, those at the top. You cannot run after those cases if you know that you stand no chance. These are cases that attract the best lawyers in the world. These are cases that also pay top money. So for you to be chosen out of thousands of lawyers in the world, it speaks volumes about your capacity and your capability. So we have to have that straight. For anyone to choose a Gambian lawyer to come and defend them, I think that is a big kudos to our country for producing lawyers of that capability. I think that is what needs to be celebrated. Okay, people must realize that as a lawyer, we have what is called the Carbrine principle, that we have a duty to represent persons accused of crimes. We have a responsibility to defend people or to assist people legally who have legal matters. That is our job as lawyers. That is what we do. Let me tell you, I have never defended a criminal who shed Gambian blood. I have never done that. I have never even defended a case in Gambia. But people are here in politics like me who've defended criminals in Gambia. But this is what we do. This is what lawyers do. Look at 1981.
You wouldn't criticize those people?
No. I would celebrate them. I learned from them. I thank them for showing me the way. Principal amongst them is Ba Usainu Dabo. He represented many of those who were accused of treason in 1981. And he managed to get a lot of them off the hook. Can you imagine the travesty it would have been if any one of those people would have been hung simply because there is some evidence that was produced against them, whether that evidence was a lie or not. So these are important principles. Then next to the next point, people say I defended Charles Taylor. No, I did not.
You did not?
No, people don't understand. I came to represent Charles Taylor after he was sentenced for 50 years imprisonment, and after his appeal has been concluded. Okay? That is when Charles engaged me. You know who was his lawyer before me?
Who was?
The current prosecutor of the International Criminal Court was his first lawyer.
Khan.
Khan.
Ah.
And Khan left. Then Courtney Griffiths, King's Counsel of the United Kingdom, one of the most famous black lawyers in the world, represented Charles Taylor.
We remember him on, we gave most of the interviews on BBC at the time.
Exactly. Yeah. Huh? And Courtney was my friend as well. So when Courtney left, Cherno Jallow represented Charles Taylor. Cherno Jallow is now aspiring to be a judge in contest with Batambedu to become a judge at the International Court of Justice.
Cherno Jallow?
Charles Jallow.
Okay, I was going to ask whether of the CRC.
No.
Okay,
Charles Jallow of Sierra Leone.
Okay.
All right? And then when all those were done, then Charles engaged me, because I am one of those unique lawyers at the ICC, or the International Criminal Bar, who is a top investigator and a top trial lawyer. Okay? So that's why my services are highly sought after. So Charles, his complaint was, okay, first, people don't understand that Charles Taylor was not investigated or prosecuted for crimes committed in Liberia. Charles was investigated and prosecuted for crimes committed by the RUF in Sierra Leone.
Revolutionary United Front.
Okay? And the reason is because Charles had allegedly provided weapons and financing to the RUF to go and fight in Sierra Leone. Isn't that what America does on a daily basis? Isn't that what all these Western powers do? Wasn't that which brought Charles Taylor to become head of state of Liberia? He escaped prison in the US. How did he get to Liberia? How did he get the arms to come and overthrow Samuel Doe in Liberia? But this is something that states do on a daily basis. Wasn't Jammeh doing that for Casamance? He was doing that. So countries or heads of states often provide weapons or financing to rebel groups in other countries.
Do you know if Barrow is doing that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I hope he isn't. So that should not be a basis to prosecute any head of state and sentence them to 50 years in prison. But Charles's case was unique. Charles had a falling out with the US. My guess is he therefore deserved to be punished. And therefore, they did this to punish him. I happen to be, because this area of practice is very small, all the players, we all know each other. I know all those who prosecuted Charles. In fact, if I would have access to my bag, I could show you the invitation to Charles Taylor's final day in court when he was being judged and sentenced. I was invited because some of those who prosecuted Charles are people that I have trained or people I have worked with. So we all know each other. We are all friends. We militate around the same circles. So therefore, Charles was sentenced because he is an African leader who had fallen out of favor with the U.S. government, and he was prosecuted for everything that for something that the U.S. does on a daily basis. Charles is the first head of state who is sentenced, convicted and sentenced for providing support to armed forces or rebel groups of another country. He was not prosecuted for crimes he has committed in Liberia. So Charles's human rights violation in Liberia was not an issue. That is something Gambians do not know. The other thing is, Charles felt that the reason why he was convicted was for an arms shipment for which he has no knowledge of. And he wanted someone, an expert investigator, who could organize that investigation and engage the court to revisit his judgment and challenge his conviction in court. Enter Essa Faal, because I am one of those, that unique breed of lawyers in this business who can lead these investigations and also lead the case in court. That's how I came to represent Charles Taylor.
How do you think your critics will react to, you talking up yourself like that? I am one of those unique breed of...
But that is the truth. Whether they like it or not, that is the truth.
It takes me back
and that is the difference why when I want, I can go and work abroad and they have to stay here. That's the difference between us. We have to just accept it when people are able to achieve certain things. I think I am one of the most humble people one could ever meet. But because of that, I
know a minister who would say that is the person with that person has a name of Adama Barrow.
Yes, but the thing is, because I am sometimes quiet about these things, people attack me because I don't explain these things. But let me say this. I represented Charles Taylor pro bono, for free.
Oh.
For free. Ibrahim Yila is the principal legal counsel for the Special Court for Sierra Leone. He's my junior. I trained him. I can provide his number. Let them call him. He will say, yes, Mr. Faal represented Charles Taylor for free, pro bono. The other person I represented...
Why did you do that? Because this would give you an international platform to, quote-unquote, market yourself?
No, all these lawyers want these cases because it's a badge of honor. It's only Gambia that I am being castigated for having represented Charles Taylor. Everywhere else they will say, wow, because these are complex and high-profile cases which would increase your standing in the International Criminal Bar. Mm. Every lawyer would want it.
Would you say it was that opportunity that ultimately led to you having this ICC job that you just quit?
Well, the thing is, it's a lot of things.
It put you on
I have done a lot of things.
It put you on an international,
Remember, I have worked on the cases of over 8 presidents.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I did Omar al-Bashir, president of Sudan.
Sudan.
Okay. I did Uhuru Kenyatta, president of Kenya. I did William Ruto, president of Kenya. I did Charles Taylor, Liberia. I did Gaddafi, and I did president of Myanmar. So 7, maybe, and I did Yahya Jammeh, 8.
Wow. There you go.
So, and if you look at the International Criminal Bar, the list, and you look at the cases they have done, there is no one who registers that number of cases dealing with heads of state.
Well done, you.
So,
Yes,
but let me talk about Saif al-Islam Gaddafi.
Yes.
Gaddafi was convicted in Libya for the same and sentenced to death for the same crimes with which he was charged at the ICC. Double jeopardy.
This is legal language.
Yes.
What does,
it is,
what does double
there's
jeopardy mean?
There's a law that you cannot be prosecuted twice for the same crime.
Okay.
So he was already sentenced to death in Libya for the crimes he allegedly committed there. Okay. After a few years, out of a political settlement, he was pardoned. But the ICC indicted him and wanted to prosecute him and not to recognize the process in Libya. But before that, the Gaddafi family had engaged our team to advise them on how to deal with what was happening before Gaddafi was killed. And we gave them stellar legal advice. They rejected it. And all the things that we predicted in our in our memorandum, they started seeing it unfolding. And Gaddafi was trying to reach us before he was apprehended and killed.
Too late.
Too late. Yeah. So when this happened to Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, he decided to reach out to that same legal team. And therefore, Saif engaged me to help him. But this was even after his case was confirmed by the pretrial chamber, and then it has to go to appeals chamber. I represented him on appeal to argue that he should not be prosecuted because he's already been prosecuted. I did it for free. Again pro bono. Right. The only legal fees I had received for international criminal defense is the Kenyatta case and the William Ruto case. Fantastic. And those people, we got them acquitted. Well, not necessarily acquitted. The ICC withdrew their cases simply because the cases were bogus.